Hey, what's going on, fellow internet nerds and non-nerds alike? Although, you're here watching my video about spaceships, I suppose maybe you should consider that maybe you are actually a nerd. This is Wayward Terran Frontier. I haven't done a video for a while. I wanted to show you some of the cool new stuff I've been working on. But first of all, look! A settings screen. It's becoming closer to a real game. You can like change volume and stuff. So, the feature I wanted to show off today is ship breaking. Oops, sorry. It's a feature that was highly requested on the forums by, a couple people. And I intended to make it, and it needed to be made. It was very difficult, but it's working now, and I want to show it off. Sorry, I should go back and show you. For this demo, I'm going to play around with this ship, the Hydra. Aptly named because the Hydra was a mythical monster whose heads would grow back when you chop them off, if I'm not mistaken. The design of this ship was pre-made. I did this earlier. It's kind of just thrown together. It's ugly. Ignore that. That aside, let me show you what I can do with the ship breaking. So, before, let me order myself over here. Before, when you would take damage to your ship, what you would notice is that your the various parts of the ship were kind of, it was all just, it was an image, right? So when you would take damage to the ship, it would remove the various pixels and you'd get holes. But if you were to, for instance, cut an entire section of the ship off, that was never something that it registered. It could always tell that this portion was attached to that portion because it was all one big unit, and you were just kind of removing the pixels on like this invincible platter. So it's kind of weird to have these phantom portions of the ship floating around, so I worked quite a long time, and there's actually a number of aspects to this system because it's not obviously just a sprite that I'm drawing, but it's also it's a fully functioning ship with crew members walking around on the inside. For instance, now I've got some guys down here repairing this damage I've taken. And did they all go down there? Yeah, they almost all went down there. So let me make sure that a couple of them stay up here, for instance. I'm going to send a couple of them up there because that'll be important because I want to show you kind of what happens when different parts of the ship get broken off. So there's a couple ways that a ship can be broken, and one of them is if a shard of the ship gets broken off, like such. That's just a shard. So it didn't have any. Nobody was actually in that section of the ship, and so. Oops. Get out of there, guys. There's no air. Oh, I lost one. Sorry, so what I was saying is, because there was nobody in that section of the ship, the game treats that as a shard. It's inert. It's just scenery at this point. And if I shoot it, there's no collision with it. It doesn't do anything. It's completely non-functional. So the only real effect of having shot that part off of my ship is that it's now missing from my ship. And eventually, if they go over there, as you see, they can fully repair that section if they'd like. But there is a big difference in the logic if there's actually one of these crew members in the section that gets shot off. And I'm going to have to see if I can demonstrate this properly, because these guys are really going to want to run over here and repair this, but let's get some crew members in this portion of the ship and let's shoot it off. Shoot off one of the Hydra's heads. Because I want to demonstrate here. Actually, before I do this, I guess I should demonstrate. In this section of the ship, I've got engines. I've got a gun with some things, chargers for the gun. I've got kind of, control thrusters here for turning the ship. I've got a reactor, which is generating energy, and some injectors that are fueling the reactor. I've got a number of beds. Those are just for spawning the crew members initially right now. But most importantly, I have, in every section of the ship, I have a control console. So And the control console with the little N next to it does a navigation console, which means it's the console that you go to when you want to fly the ship. The reason I've put one of these in every section of the ship is because I want to demonstrate what happens when crew members are stranded in a section of your ship, which turns out to be capable of, you know, being an entire ship. So if these little jerks would stop running down there to repair that, let me put 3 of them in this section and shoot it off. There we go. It sounds like probably at least one of them was still in the hallway and died a horrible death. But I have a strong suspicion that at least one of them survived. So now, you'll notice my ship is a little bit more sluggish now because quite a bit of my maneuverability and engines came from that section of the ship. And you'll also notice that the turret that was attached to that section of the ship came off with that section of the ship, because that section actually has crew members in it, which means that is now also a ship, as far as the game logic is concerned. And I believe if they're intelligent and smart, the way I program, they should be willing to man the ship and fly it like they would normally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spawn an enemy all the way up here. And, oh, hey, they're shooting me. Yeah, well, anyways, the point being, I spawned an enemy, and the AI that are now flying that section of the ship are quite content to man the guns and start shooting at what they perceive to be a threat. And they're my crew members, so they're on my side, so this guy who is, as you can see, shooting me, is also their enemy. So they're gonna do their best to help me out in the battle. I shoot him a bit too to get him to shut up. Otherwise he's gonna pick me apart here while I'm trying to give this demo. Well, I think I realize another flaw in my design, not that it matters. You notice some of my guns have stopped firing, and the reason these guns here have stopped firing is because this reactor has overheated. I didn't put any. I have radiators for dissipating the heat from this reactor. It's nice and cool. But the radiators aren't in any way connected to this generator, which means after a while it got overheated and it stopped producing energy. Capacitors have all emptied. I can't fire those guns anymore. Only this gun will fire. No, I better... Well, it's a good thing that was about all I wanted to demonstrate, because at this point my ship is going to become irrecoverable. Let's go back and see how much of this guy I can shoot up. Oh good, he's on fire. Damn, yeah, the blown off section of my ship is doing better than mine. I only got a few of my engines working. So the breaking of ships works for AI ships as well, which means that the logic that I had in the game that kind of detected if a ship had any crew members left, and then kind of rewarded you when there weren't any left, that logic doesn't really apply anymore because when you break a ship into a piece that has a crew member on it, it thinks it's a new ship, and so it kind of rewards you all the time. Anyway, suffice to say, I gotta figure out a new way to handle that, but the reality is that my intention is never for this client to be the full game. The full game is going to take place on a server, and I've been writing the code for the server to handle a persistent state, lots of different players, you know, building, hopefully, space station, farming asteroids. I have lots and lots of plans for it, but they have not come together yet because it's just a lot to work on, but okay, I think that I've finished this guy off. Little pieces flying off of him. I love the little shards that will sometimes spawn. And it's a good thing he's dead, because it looks like the last of my crew members are probably dying horrible. Where are they? Why are they making horrible dying noises? I guess my entire crew is dead at this point. Well, oh, there he is. Get out of there. In the one section of the ship that doesn't have any air. Here, you can go repair this. You'll love repairing that. And I think that's my demo of shipbreaking. The algorithm that determines which ship you are controlling after the break is based off of where you are. So this is me, of course. Let's not blow ourselves up too bad. Oh crap. Well, that was stupid. Why did I do that? Okay, better idea. Here, walk over here. I have to trade places with this guy to demonstrate my last point about this. Yep. Valuable red-shirted crew member. Okay, don't control that just yet. Okay. You can go to work repairing. Actually, I want you on this side because I'm going to demonstrate something. Obviously, if a ship is being broken into many pieces, the question is, well, what piece are you, the player, going to control after it breaks? And the answer is, well, it's whichever piece you're in. And quite literally, if you were standing in that little corner that I had blown off before, that would have been your whole ship. Now, if you're in a section like this that actually has a control console, then you can fly it like a ship, even if it doesn't really have the, even if it doesn't really have any of the parts necessary to be a full ship. Whereas if you were in that little corner over there, when it got blown off, you would be stuck in this internal view, seeing yourself slowly run out of air. Try to maintain the realism of what it's like to be, a crew member actually inside a ship, being blown apart from the inside. So now, as you can see, I've been separated entirely from the larger ship, but so all that's left is the section I was in, and if these damn air conditioning units would... I didn't design this very well. I totally forgot to put a door here, so my control cabin has been entirely vented of atmosphere. But if I wait a little while, the life support things will fill it back up with air. And then I can go and demonstrate that, I care about myself that much. Okay, cool. So now I'm in charge of this section of the ship. If that one crew member over there is still alive, he'll try to take control of that ship and fly it. But I have a strong feeling that he is entirely, completely, 100% out of energy with all of his reactors overheating, and there's not much he can do. So that's probably going to be the extent of my demo. But I thought it was pretty cool. And this is all of the breaking, all of the ship breaking is handled by the same thread that updates the inside of the ships, which means I can do quite a lot of these ships in parallel. I'm hoping to have massive battles with lots of ships shooting at each other and breaking into pieces. I don't have any sort of explosion animations in the game yet, but when I do, I'm hoping for it to be quite cinematic. And until then, it's kind of fun to just play around with it and see yourself get broken into pieces. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I suppose I'd say keep an eye open, because in the near future I'd like to step up the pace at which I'm doing these sorts of updates. So I'm hoping to put out videos a little more frequently and update my blog a little bit more interesting stuff. So keep an eye out, and hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.